20 years ago, a young man named Ira Sohn lost his battle with cancer. But rather than mourn, 3 of Ira's good friends came up with a wonderful way to turn his loss into something positive, and that's how this conference was born.
We greatly admire what the Ira Sohn Research Conference Foundation has accomplished. It is proof that with good spirit and creative energy, even tragedy can yield great things.
I am honored to be here on this 3rd annual Sohn London Conference.
On behalf of my partners in New York, Doug Hirsch, my co-founder and our chairman, and Evan Sohn, Ira's brother, I want to express how excited we are to be here in Israel for the first ever Sohn Conference.
Today is the all-star game of investor conferences. It's the Ira Sohn Conference, where the biggest names in investing get up and present their very best ideas.
Ira Sohn Investment Research Conference. It's Woodstock for value investors.
I'm Doug Hirsch, and welcome to the 4th annual Ira Sohn Research Conference.
And some people say trading is stressful. I think giving this speech is stressful.
You cannot, and I'll argue this for just a sec, you cannot know what an internet stock is worth just because we don't know really what the cash flows look like going forward.
I think that we are in an incredible speculative bubble that either will explode or, if we're lucky, will bleed out slowly as opposed to some catastrophic result.
I call it anti-Darwinian because it's the survival of the unfittest in corporate managements.
You have to be on the deck of the boat like Columbus and say, I see a multi-$100 billion industry.
Well, if Alberto is Columbus on the deck of that ship, I think I was president of the Flat Earth Club in 1492.
I heard Jim Chanos talk and I said, ooh, I'm not long any of his companies. First time.
I am bearish on bonds, bearish on the dollar, bearish on central banks, bearish on Alan Greenspan. And I don't think much of the weather.
Many of my friends say it's better to be stuck outside of Russia than stuck in Russia.
I consider myself an optimist and don't have many pessimists as friends other than Jim Grant. And I wish I had a different message today, but I don't.
I haven't seen this many people in front of me since my bar mitzvah.
I know that probably half of you are here because you thought I was dead.
There are over 300 internet companies that have market caps between $100 and $400 million. I believe of the hundreds, 90% will not survive.
I'll tell you, there's no equity in an airline.
The company is called Allied Capital. I believe Allied is a good short idea.
Subprime lending. And this is an area we've also been active in throughout the 90s. This is basically lending money to people who won't pay you back, but charging them a lot of fees and interest along the way.
Now the good news is, I don't think this thing's going to last 3 or 5 years. I think we're going to have a very nasty recession. If we're lucky, I think it's going to happen in 06, and I put that about a 50% probability. I'd say there's very, very little chance we'll get to 07, through 07, and I'd say Hillary's looking real good for 2008.
The insurance subsidiaries, we believe, are effectively insolvent. We're short both MBIA and Ambec. If they're wrong by 2%, they're toast. At MBIA, we've seen actual outright fraud. The company settled a fraud investigation recently.
Some of you may have read an article about this in Foreign Affairs, but I had never really thought about expeditionary economics. And for a blissful moment, I thought that it might mean sending Paul Krugman to Somalia.
Alan Greenspan was the bartender. He liquored everybody up.
The 2 professors at Chicago crossing the quadrangle, walking past a $10 bill because they knew in an efficient world it would have long ago been picked up.
After 2007, I thought there would never be an opportunity to be involved on the short side with an industry as socially destructive and morally bankrupt as the subprime mortgage industry. Unfortunately, I'm wrong. The for-profit education industry has proven equal to the task.
I love the concept of the unconfirmed rumor, as though the confirmed rumor is all of a sudden, a fact.
If you value GDP on the basis of general growth,
On the low side, $9 a share. On the high side, $21 a share.
Presently, Greenlight is short Lehman. My hope is that Mr. Cox and Mr. Bernanke and Mr. Paulson will pay heed to the risks to the financial system that Lehman is creating, and that they will guide Lehman toward a recapitalization and recognition of its losses, hopefully before the federal taxpayer assistance is required.
This is to Elvis, Heartbreak Hotel. David Crockett isn't my style, so. Well, since I came to the conference, I became somewhat depressed. The end of the world is coming. We're in an awful mess. I'm done. I'll see you later.
My view is I'm not looking for a correction. I like the market short term and I hate it long term.
Whenever I get discouraged, I remember, trying to buck myself, I remember the story of the little engine that could. I used to think about our portfolio as the big engine that could, but now it's shrunk and it's now the little engine that might, I guess.
It's all about, very special assets. I like to call them idiot-proof, because you once in a while you have an idiot running it, so you can easily change it. I'm forecasting to pass Mr. Slim around 215, and I don't know if he's going to be on the right side, on the left side, but you can join us in this undertaking.
Let me tell you, in tech land, people are just hypnotized by revenue growth. But it's not revenue growth that counts, it's earnings per share.
How is it possible that Herbalife sells 6 times more nutrition powder than Abbott Labs, Unilever, and GNC? And we're going to demonstrate, by virtue of this, that Herbalife is a pyramid scheme.
I suspect this is something we will see. We will see some countries default, notably in Europe, possibly elsewhere.
Today I'd like to talk to you about an issue in the energy space. We believe crude oil is going lower, much lower, and so we want to be net short crude.
Geopolitics are back. They are front and center. We thought we wouldn't have to hear that.
My first piece of investment advice should be non-controversial. Borrow infinite amounts at negative interest rates.
My dad was passing away and he looked at me and he said, "Son, you're going to run out of time, not money."
That was the beginning of the end. Maybe this is the end of the beginning.
Thank you, Tomorrow's Children, for inviting me. I don't normally do this. I'd rather be trading.
I'm excited to announce that Greenlight is going to partner with the Tomorrow's Children's Fund on this investment. We're going to donate 50% of the profits earned by the general partner Kerry on the short sale of Allied Capital to the Tomorrow's Children's Fund.
I want to basically say to all the people that are participating here, to all the people that sponsor this and everything else, hats off to all of you. It's a terrific cause. If I get the opportunity to come back, I look forward to coming back and speaking again. Thank you.
My wife and I, as Doug mentioned, lost our son 10 years ago after 3 years of lymphoma. And it is a club that nobody should be a member of.
My 15-year-old son, Matthew, was a real hero battling leukemia for 7 years. He's been great for the past 6 years and is actually here in the audience today. Matt, stand up, please.
I want to introduce my mom now. She helped save my life by figuring out I had a brain tumor. So I believe she is a great analyst.
As a parent of a child who had cancer, I want to thank Dan and Doug for all the work they've done with the foundation and all of you for attending.
Thanks for having me, thanks for listening, and thanks to the Sohn Foundation for having me here.
The Ira Sohn Foundation has donated, or is donating, $1 million to NYU Langone Medical Center for pediatric work on a new neuro-oncology lab. Thank you very much.
This is an invitation I never turned down. It's for an amazing cause.
It's been 16 years, and I'm just really honored to still be here.
It's such a privilege to be here at Ira Sohn, this Ira Sohn event. He was a young man, but the great thing is you don't, it's not how long you live, it's how beautiful a life you live. And clearly he led an incredible life to have these guys do what they're doing for him.
Join me in applauding the work of the Sohn Foundation over the last 19 years. Thank you very much.
I can't say enough about this organization you've come out to support today. I reiterate Larry's comments that it's just wonderful work that Ira Sohn does, and I thank all of you for coming out and supporting them.
Thank you. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here again. This really is my favorite investment conference of the year, and I look forward to it very greatly.
From the bottom of my heart, keep doing what you're doing, and thank you for carrying on a wonderful legacy of helping children for Ira Sohn.
It says it's not about what you do in your life, but life is all about the great big giveaway. I guess it's a testimony to you all here today to show up and to be a part of this. Thank you.